Welcome to the K12 Panel onboarding video. My name is Jeff Patterson, and today I'm going to be running through the onboarding documentation for Panel. You can find a ton of useful training videos on the K12 Panel Training Center. If you go to k12panel.com and then hit training, you'll get to that. You can also access the online system documentation at help.k12panel.com. In the system documentation, you'll find the onboarding documentation, and that's what we're going to be going through today. So I'm going to move quickly through the onboarding document, but that's the beauty of video. If you want to review something I cover maybe too quickly, simply pause and rewatch that section of the video. So Panel uses Google for sign-in. Go ahead and click Sign In with Google. I've already entered my cell phone number. You'll be asked to enter yours. You have to enter the code that you got. And then you'll be presented with this screen here that says Set up the Authenticator app. Go ahead and select Tell Me More now. Grab your cell phone and download the Google Authenticator app if you don't already have it from either Google Play or the Apple Store. And then you're going to use that to scan this. After you're done, you're going to say, I'm done scanning. Make sure to scan it into your Authenticator app first. Now, I'm going to go ahead and log out and show you the difference when I log in with Authenticator app. So you can see instead of cell phone code, I have to look on my phone for my Authenticator app. And now I don't need my cell phone anymore to securely get into the application. So Panel's broken down into these main menu items, and as an administrator, you're going to see all of them. If you invite people in the future that aren't administrators, they won't see as many functions as you see. So let's go ahead and get this set up for Hill Bay. Jump down into Settings here, and first thing we'll do is change our header color, just for something a little bit more like our school. We're going to go do a G Suite sync so we can pull in our Chromebooks and people from Google. Authorize panel, start authorization. This is going to take you to Google and you're going to have to answer some questions. I've already done that with Hill Bay, so you can see it's telling me that I've already done that. You'll be asked to answer 4 questions. They're all read-only. And after I do that, it's going to immediately start to initiate a pull-in of my people and Chromebooks and OUs from Google. So that's good, we're on our way. Let's deploy the Chromebook extension to Google so that we can get accurate information about where our Chromebooks are being used. So we do that on Software Downloads. You're going to navigate in Google Admin Console to Devices, Chrome, and then you're going to choose the Apps and Extensions section here in this drop-down. So we're going to add a Chrome app or extension by ID. And then it's not from the web store, it's from a custom URL. So go ahead and switch to that. And then on your software downloads, you can copy that extension ID and then copy custom URL, then click Save. Yours is different than mine. Every organization's is different. And then we're going to force the install because we want it everywhere. And the last thing to do is to say that this extension gets all the permissions it wants. Those are geolocation permissions. We're giving your Chromebooks the ability to check in with where they are in the world. I'm pushing this at the highest level in my organization. You push it to users, not Chromebooks. It only affects Chromebooks, but it's pushed to users. So you make sure you target the top level or an OU that has users. And then we're going to click Save. And that's all there is to it to get our Chrome extension installing. That's now being pushed out to our Chromebook fleet. So we should have Chromebooks in here, and we do. They've been synced over. But we want to get a Windows machine in here. So in order to do that, we need to install the Windows agent. Jump over to Settings, and then back to Software Downloads. You'll see here on top, we have our Hill Bay Custom MSI installer. Every organization has their own MSI installer. So go ahead and click and download that. You can put that on a thumb drive or deploy it however you want to deploy this MSI in your organization. I'm going to go ahead and install it on a virtual machine that I have here so that we get that virtual machine into our system. Okay, I finished installing on my virtual machine. You'll actually see that I've got a new alert on my dashboard and this number on my on-ramp. If I check the dashboard, it actually tells me that I have an asset added to my on-ramp. And I can click here to view the on-ramp, or I can click here to view the on-ramp. We'll get to it from here. So here, the on-ramp is a holding pen where I get to decide which machines I want to let onto my panel and which ones I want to reject. I know that this is a valid machine because I just installed it on this Windows machine, so I'm going to go ahead and adopt it. Lots of information to review here. I'm going to put it in the tracked assets asset class. Logically, this should go in a desktop or a laptop, but I haven't built my asset classes yet. I do that in settings, and I'll do that at a future time. So after I adopt that, you can see that it has, in fact, come off of the on-ramp, and it is in my assets. There it is, alongside my two Chromebooks. My dashboard still has my alert. And that's there to remind me that I have to clear that. Taking care of this, I'm going to go ahead and clear that. And now that to-do is off of my list. So we have our computer here alongside our two Chromebooks. If I drill into my computer, I can see some basic information about it. I'm going to reboot this PC so that I can get a little bit more information. I could wait for it to check in, but I'm not going to wait. I'm going to go ahead and reboot it. Okay, my PC has rebooted. I refreshed the screen and you can now see that I've got some new tabs, including hardware, software, and printers. So in the hardware tab, I can see general information about the hardware of the PC. And in software, I can get a catalog of the machine or the software that's been installed. Printers would show me the printers. There are no printers on this computer. So I can start to get a handle on what's going on this PC pretty easily. And let's say that I want to push a piece of software to it. I want to install Google Chrome. No need to visit the machine. I can do that all from here. So I do that by selecting the blueprint that I want to install. By default, when I come here, I'm not going to have any libraries. So I've already built a software library. Just click Add, and then enter in the name software there. And I get my software library. Now, here, by selecting the software library, you can see I could build a new blueprint, but I don't want to go to the trouble of building a blueprint. I'm just going to use a blueprint that's already been written for me. So the team library has several libraries that I can join that have blueprints in them. There's one that's available to everybody, the public library. So I'm going to go ahead and join it. Once I join the team library, the team blueprints shows me all of the blueprints that I can use that are already provided for me. Now I know I want to install Chrome, so I'm just going to filter this list down to Google Chrome. This is the no earlier than version. It's actually the later version than that now. So I'm going to go ahead and subscribe. At the bottom, initially place in my newly created software library, and I'm going to choose to automatically sync with publisher updates. This means that if the author of this blueprint, the original author of the blueprint, changes this blueprint, I'm automatically going to get those changes. This is a dangerous flag. Only do it if you trust the author of the blueprint. So now I have my blueprint. In order to deploy it, I need to build what's called a modifier. Modifier is a deployable version of a blueprint. And we use modifiers because sometimes blueprints can be configured. With Google Chrome, there's nothing special to configure. I just am going to install Google Chrome. So I'm simply going to name it and then click Save. So now I have my blueprint modifier. So in order to deploy a blueprint modifier, I need to bind it to an asset group. An asset group is just a way of organizing assets. So I'm going to select New Asset Group, and we'll build we'll build one called Test Computers. We also need to set which asset modifiers we're going to include. We only have one called Chrome right now, so I'm going to choose that. Make dynamic asset group is an advanced function. Read about it or learn about it in the training center. It can really save you a ton of time. It'll automatically add assets to this group if they behave in a certain way. So now I have my new group called Test Computers, and any computer in it is going to get Chrome installed. Let's pop over to Assets and choose our new PC. I'll drill into it. You could do it from here with these, but I'm going to do it from within inside the asset. We're going to go ahead and put this computer inside the Test Computers group. Now that we've added it to the group, let's scroll down and see it has been added to the group, and Google Chrome is going to be installed next time it pulls. The PC pulls every once in a while, and next time that happens, it should get Chrome. There's one last thing we have to do, though, and that is we have to wake this PC up. Right now it's asleep, and if PCs are asleep in panel, asset modifiers won't take effect. So I'm going to go ahead and wake this one up. And now that it's awake, the asset modifier of installing Chrome will fire the next time it checks in. So I could just wait, and normally that's what I would do. I would go about my business and let it check in when it does here in a little while. But I'm going to reboot that PC so that I can trigger a check-in right away. Okay, my virtual machine just rebooted, and I let it set for a minute, and I actually saw the Google Chrome icon pop up on the desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page by clicking Basic Information. And you can see that a new tab just appeared, Asset Modifier Reports. This shows me over time which modifiers have tried to install or run on this PC and what happened with them. So this one's stating that at this particular time, it looked to see, does this need to happen? Yes, it does need to happen. The pre-work state was the work was not done. So it ran it, and then after it was done, it's now saying that the current state is work done, which means Google Chrome has, in fact, been installed on that machine. And I can tell because I'm looking at it. We could also look in the software report to see that. So let's click over to People. This shows that people have been pulled in from Google. Again, Google is where these people, I didn't build them here in panel, they got pulled over from there. And I can start to look at some details about Chris or any of the other people. So one of the reasons that we have people is that we can track what assets are checked out to Chris. Let's say the new machine that we just installed is supposed to be checked out to Chris. Head back over to Assets, drill in, and let's check it out to Chris. Check out, and then Chris. I can use his first name, last name, email address, and then once he's found, I can click Checkout. If I had a bunch of Chris's, I would see a list and I could click the right one. So now this device is checked out to Chris. If I look in the check-in and out history, I can see it's currently checked out to Chris, and here is a history of who's checked it out, to whom, and when. On the Basic Information tab, I can also check it back in, and then it would be ready to check out to somebody else. And if I go look at Chris, I can in fact see that that desktop is checked out to him. So that lets me move back and forth between the assets and the people they're checked out to. And when I'm on an asset, of course, I can see the last location that that asset was used. For Chromebooks, that information becomes much more accurate after a Chromebook has been used when the Chrome extension has been pushed. So make sure to look for that. And with that, you now know the basics. Thanks for watching.